You know, one of the most deadly lures, particularly in the springtime and again in the fall. And really they can be fished year round, but when these fish, particularly bass, move up into the shallow water and it's just prior to spawn, let me tell you something, these jerkbaits catch a lot of fish in small lakes and ponds as well as big reservoirs. So today we're going to show you how to fish a jerkbait. There's really, it's a pretty simple lure, and there's really only 2 or 3 ways to effectively fish it. One is that you cast out and you can just reel it in. Oh, there's one right there. Oh, he got off. Did you see that? First cast, can you believe that? So that's one way to work the lure. The other way is you cast and you literally jerk it. Jerk it, pause. Jerk it, pause. Jerk it, pause. Add a couple of little jerks in a row to break the, to break the pattern, but basically you're just jerking it, jerking it, jerking it, jerking it, jerking it. Thus the reason they call it a jerkbait, right? And then a third effective way to fish it is you pull the lure, reel up your slack, pause. Pull the lure, reel up the slack, pause. Every time you pull the lure, it dives, in this case maybe 3 or 4 inches. Take up the slack and the lure slowly starts coming to the top. Boom, there one hit it on top of the water. Got some active fish here if I can catch one. So that's your 3 primary ways to work that lure. Number 1 is you can just simply reel it. Number 2 is you can jerk it with erratic jerks, each time taking up the slack. And then the third way is you pull it, pause, let it come up. Pull it, pause, let it come up. Now, the jerkbaits themselves can be floaters. In this case, that's what this is. This is a floating type. But you've also got jerkbaits that suspend. So when you pull it or crank it or jerk it down, it stays there at that level and just sits there. Say a foot under the water, for example. Oh, one just hit it, missed it. I'm not too sure some of these hitting this lure aren't crappie. I just saw a swirl out here. Let's go over here and see what happens. There's a swirl out here. So we're going to jerk it, pause, jerk it, pause, jerk it, pause. And what happens is that lure in the water looks like an injured minnow as it flutters and stops, flutters and stops, flutters and stops. I tell you, since I had a hit on it, just reeling it in, let me just try that. That might be what they want right now. Just reeling it in. And all that lure is doing is wobbling back and forth as it's coming back to it. There we go, big hit. Oh, big fish. Oh, did he come up and hit that? Oh my goodness. Well, that seemed to be the retrieve. That seems to be the retrieve, is rather than just jerk it, go right ahead and... Boy, he got it, didn't he? Look at that. Boy, I got him all tied up with that lure. It's got 3 treble hooks on it, and it looks like all 3 of them got him. All right, let me get you off there, buddy. Don't reach in there with your bare hands if you got all those treble hooks. That might not be a good thing. Make sure you get a hold of that fish where he's not going to jump. Because if he jumps and gets those hooks in you, that won't be too pleasant. There you go. So what do you think of that, huh? Nice big fish. Probably 2 1/4 pounds. All right. And he got even because he just splattered me with muddy water. All right, try that again. So what you do is you experiment with the retrieves. You know, the 3 basic retrieves. Just reel it, like I'm doing right now, or jerk it, pause, jerk it, pause, each time reeling in the slack, or you pull it, and you're going to pull it probably 2-3 feet through the water, and then you pause, let it come back up, and continue that retrieve. right now, I've had 2 good fish hit it. There's another one. Just slowly retrieving it. This water's not very deep right here. So that's why I'm using one that actually floats versus one that dives. The sun just came out, so maybe I can just show you real quick what that lure looks like right here. See it flash? Turn sideways on its side and just kind of flash. That's what it's doing out there when you throw it out and you jerk it or reel it. See that? Looks like an injured shad or an injured minnow of some type. And that's what's triggering those fish, is that flash when it looks like it's injured. Right across that point right there. I guarantee we're going to catch fish right here now. Wind is really... There he is! Oh, that's a bigger fish. That's a bigger fish. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come back here. Oh, okay. I don't know how big he is, but he's sure putting up a fight. Come up here. You're not that big, but you're big enough. Oh, look right there, boys. What can you say about that, huh? I told you we'd catch it off that point. Okay. Look at that right there. That's what you call early springtime jerkbait fishing. Beautiful fish. What do you think of that deal, huh? There he goes. If you don't have one of these, you got to go get one. Lots of companies make them. First one I ever remember was Rapala, or Rapala, depending on how you want to say it. I guess Rapala is more technically correct. There's another one right there. Whoa, come back here. It's a nice chunky fish too, isn't it? Look at that fish right there, boys. Come up here now. Come here, come here, come here. Come here. Okay. Okay. Yes, sir. Another springtime bass on a jerkbait. Anyway, I was saying Rapala, or Rapala, was the first company I ever knew to bring one out years and years and years ago. I was fishing a Rapala when I was in college. I don't even want to tell you how long ago that was, but let me tell you, when you catch quality fish like that, you got to be out here in the early spring doing it with jerkbaits. It's probably about as easy of a lure as there is to fish correctly, because you almost can't fish it incorrectly, frankly. No matter what you do, whether you're pausing it or jerking it or swimming it or just letting it sit on top of the surface and moving it just a little bit, no matter what you're going to do with this lure, you almost can't fish it incorrectly. Now the fish are going to react better during certain, with certain retrieves on certain days, yes. But it's such an easy lure to fish. And it's getting colder instead of warmer. There he is. There he is. So that's what we're after. That's what it's all about. Springtime bass fishing in the shallow waters, off the bank fishing with jerkbaits. Came right out of that brush pile. So go get a jerkbait if you don't have one. Tie it on 10-12 pound test line on a medium action rod and get out and catch some of these big fish. There he goes.